I'm very proud of this work.
That's good. A lot of people like
it. It's about my relationship with my second wife, my third wife, and my family. And I'm not kidding.
Is this a self-portrait?
No, all my heroes are dark-haired, dark-eyed, left-handed, and Jewish. I am formerly dark-haired, I'm still dark-eyed, I'm still left-handed, and I'm vaguely Jewish. And, well, I've never been good-looking, but I have a certain charm. Take it away, Bubba.
This is my piece. You had another one there, but this is a bit sharper. This is
one
that we remember well. It's a good story.
American Flag was the thing that I made my bones with. I left comic books in 1980 after a huge fight with the editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics at the time, who we never got along. And I'm still working, and he's not. So there you go. And I left comics for 2.5 years. I did paperbacks, romances, westerns. I opted not to bring any of those along because I felt that it wouldn't really make any sense to this audience.
Yeah.
And about, I guess, in the mid-'80s, in the early '82, when that cockbag Ronald Reagan sort of fucked up the economy in the United States for the first time, rates started getting slashed and cut. And I got an offer from First Comics to create a comic book. And I did. And that was what American Flag was. American Flag was a demonstration to me what I could do if I actually worked really hard. And it wrecked my second marriage, and it made my career. And in source, it is a post-Holocaust negative utopia as burlesque comedy.
It has been reissued now, repackaged, I should say, but I haven't seen that distributed.
Because the publisher is an idiot. Trust me, I looked it up. I talk to him daily. He's a moron. You should not be driving, let alone using public transportation. The fact that he dresses himself in the morning is a tribute to education. Trust me. Frighteningly stupid. Hear this, Nick? Oh, you brought your own covers. You didn't like what I brought you?
I brought this one because this is a nice one.
You like that?
Yeah,
it's got women's underwear on it. That's what I wrote this all about.
The first 25 issues of American Flag are really classics.
Yeah, they are. The rest of her shit. They really are. Because I was under the mistaken impression that I was easily replaced. Because my standards are middling. And they replaced me with absolutely talent-free shitwaps who could not handle anything. I have no idea. It demonstrated to me in the first time in my career that I was doing something that I thought was clear and easily understood and replicated, and was completely being misunderstood and misreplicated by a bunch of bozos. And there you have it. This was issue 7 or 9? 4? Is it 4? Yeah, that's right. This is the road trip issue.
Yeah.
This is the first issue of American Flag that leaves Chicago and visits the world. We go to England for a subterranean basketball match, and Flag is involved in a romantic quadrangle with this girl whose name is Crystal Gail Marakova, Mandy Krieger, who's the daughter of the police chief, a redheaded bitch, and Juliet and Gretchen Krieger Holstrom, who is an older woman. The older woman represents all the women I slept with when I was in my 20s. This one is my second wife, and the redhead is my third wife. I'm pathetic.
Just one word about Flag and the graphics here. You know, the graphics mark this as a new institution in comics.
Basically, what I did with Flag was come up with a new way of telling stories, and I incorporated elements of graphic design in them. And again, part of what my problem was that everything I did seemed so logic-based and reasonable that what I've done is I've created an entire school of comic book art which is totally unintelligible by people who don't have a single idea of how to use what I'm doing. The fact of the matter is, comics these days in the States are frequently produced in a way by people who have the equivalent of a fantastic accent and absolutely no vocabulary. And what Flag talks about visually is the application of a more contemporary postmodern vocabulary using sound effects and graphics to tell a story. The sound effects were inspired deeply by Walter Simonson on the Manhunter strip that he did in the backup as a detective in the early 70s. And I was working with a letterer named Ken Brusinak, who is a genius, unequivocally a genius. We are working together again now on a new strip called Marked Man for Dark Horse Presents. Ken is as big a troublemaker as I am. He's made himself unhireable at many companies because he pisses people off. Is that my second one? No. And it's unfortunate because he is responsible for the creation of as many tropes and ideas for the lettering of comics as I am for the graphic design of them. And whenever I have an opportunity to convince the client to let me work with Ken, I grab it. Ken, for example, on the Dark Horse project, is lettering on the colored pages as opposed to in the black and whites. So he's allowing the color to hold the lettering. And it's an entirely different idea. And he is just a gift, a brilliant talent, totally unacknowledged and totally unrecognized and completely taken for granted. Sound like me. So, here you go.
Ken and Howard are the guys on the American flag. Try to get the old issues, or try to get that book if somebody imports it.
I'd recommend it. It's funny, dirty, and clever, like me.
Probably Amazon Commerce on that would be your best bet for that book.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There we go.
Challengers.
Yeah, there was our award winner last night was talking about the challenge of the unknown. This is the pencil for the final page of I think issue 2 or 3 of Challenges of the Unknown. And on the other side is the promotional page which sold the book. And Challenge of the Unknown, I was asked to take the title of Challenge of the Unknown and reinvent it for DC Comics. And what I created was a book in which we are led to believe that Lee Harvey Oswald, Sirhan Sirhan, even Leon Golguch, who killed McKinley, were all the tools and victims of an organization called Hegemony, which rules the world secretly. And that organization itself is ruled by a 120-year-old virgin based on a woman named Claire Booth Luce, who was an absolutely horrible Republican politician in the 1930s and 40s. She was married to Henry Luce, who ran Life magazine and Time magazine. They were both bizarrely right-wing characters. And it's about these 6 characters who are destined to become the next wave of corporate and political assassins who, due to an accident, are freed of their mind control and have not really any idea of why they should be doing what they're doing, so they attempt to bring down the organization. And it met with profound indifference, except for the internet where I was called, quote, a left-wing faggot. And I embraced that with all my heart. Okay? So fuck you guys. I'm very proud of this book. I'm very happy with it. I thought it just kicked ass. So, oh well. You can only do the best you can and hope the audience finds you. And frankly, if I don't get there, oh well, I still own my house.
I bought this book when it came out, and it's one of my favorites.
It's funny, dirty, and filled with laughs.
Yeah.
And incredibly violent. Bang Tango.
Bang Tango, this is one I've never seen before, but you showed it to me.
Terrible comic book. Vile. Badly drawn, ill-conceived. But they called me because it was all about drag queens. I have a long-standing history of doing stories about drag queens, transvestites, and other, transgressive characters. And I like transgression. I really do. I have no filter. I have been like this since I was in my 20s, and it was awful through my 20s, 30s, and 40s. But in my 60s, I'm 60, I'll be 61 next month, I'm simply regarded as a harmless old man who just doesn't know how to shut up. And it's really good, because I play the old card whenever I have to. They called me to do the covers for this book, and I embraced it because it was just an opportunity to do transgressive imagery. And I had a great time with these covers. And I couldn't be happier. My colorist on the covers is a guy named Edgar Delgado, who is an incredibly talented young man. And as you see, I got to do hotbeds, lingerie, and interesting backgrounds.
Is it Joe Kelly who written it?
Yes.
And Rodney Ramos has inked it.
I don't know who these guys are.
Sidebar, I don't know who that is.
No, Rod Ramos did the best he could with what he had to work with. There wasn't much.
We know him. He's a good worker.
Mm-hmm. A good worker.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be on a Soviet poster. A good worker. Join the party. Be the party. Obsolete.
Nice covers.
Thank you.
Superheroes.
What is it?
Punisher coming through with Mira. I
love the Punisher. Most people think of the Punisher as this against crime. I think of the Punisher as a Charlie Chaplin comedy with high-powered weapons. I really do. I love working with Matt Fraction. He's just the greatest. Matt is one of my favorite writers. He's one of my favorite people. And he lives in the Pacific Northwest. He's never lived in New York. And his idea of the geography of New York is comparable to yours of my house. He doesn't know shit. It's amazing. He wrote Things Happening on the Brooklyn Bridge, which are, to call them functionally impossible is to begin to bring new meaning to impossible. But I made them work. And his stuff is funny, clever, and witty. And I love working with Matt. Well, we've got a project in development right now that I cannot wait to get started on. It's one of the rare occasions where someone has written an outline. Let me back up. A lot of times I work with writers who think they're writing in the kind of language of doing the kind of thing that I want to do. And it never comes out that way, because most writers tend to be a little pussyish. Matt has no filters or boundaries like me, and it reads like something I would have done, and I'm really excited about it. It's very dirty, it's very funny, it's very political, and it's very period. And I'm very excited about that. But I had a great time doing The Punisher. It was a great arc. I like drawing guys with guns. My one objection to it was there weren't enough hot babes in it, and I really tried. And I did a whole bunch of hot babe supervillains, which was kind of fun.
There's a hot babe in this one.
Which one is that?
Batman, Catwoman.
Ah!
It's a silent page from,
Let me see.
I think
It's silent because you don't have a lettered version. What you have is the color version.
Yeah.
This is Jesus Alberto coloring.
Yeah.
This is a book I did years and years ago, which finally got published. It was done at the time of the Enron scandal, and it was basically about. It was printed as a single book. It was about a financial malfeasance at Wayne Industries, and that Bruce Wayne.